ashes burn in the stone, and night it's our turn.
It looks like Anakin's starting with the initiative.
Mhm.
Restore Dark is a pretty good one.
Yeah, definitely. Restore Dark's a really good one because it'll trade using Anakin's ability. It'll trade with any space unit Sabine wants to play, and if they play to the ground, you still get that restore in to help heal. So that's a solid turn one.
Yep. But Sabine does go to the ground, which means this arc doesn't have a target just yet.
Interesting. Starting with the attack. Well, one option that you can do, especially with this Anakin deck, is leave your units readied and don't attack first, because then you can threaten your opponent's unit, so that if the Sabine player, for instance, wanted to play a red 3, you could kill it. If they had a green squadron A-wing, you could kill it without dying back. It makes a lot of sense with the Sabine play because he didn't want the Battlefield Marine to just eat his Sabine for free. But it's part of the intricacy in playing this deck is when do I want to attack first and when do I want to play my units first.
Yeah.
And now I wonder if Sabine is deciding whether they want to use their ECL now or not. It's always, to me, that's one of the biggest decisions that makes a good versus a great Sabine player is when do you use your ECL, how do you use it, and what matchups do you need to save it versus what matchups can you afford to, or do you need to use it early?
It depends on the hand here for me, but if its card is like a Fighters for Freedom, I think there's a good argument for using it.
Yeah, because the Sabine can trade with your Battlefield Marine. Do you want to keep that around? Looks like he is going to use his Energy Conversion Lab. Fighters for Freedom into Sabine. Great call. Yeah, the Restore 1 in space looking a lot worse when facing down 6 damage plus Sabine flip on the ground. And the Saboteur is also huge for the Fighters for Freedom. This Anakin deck really likes to utilize Sentinels to try to mitigate damage and protect his leader, and the Saboteur stops both of those from happening.
Yeah. Anakin it doesn't have a lot of ambush units, and it doesn't have a lot of doesn't have a lot of events that deal with units with great efficiency. So I think if you can use the ECL to get ahead on tempo there, it makes a lot of sense to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be looking for, it's not resource efficient, but something like a Perilous Position on the Fighters for Freedom. But even that doesn't feel very good when you know that Sabine's going to deploy this turn and they still have 4 resources. Even if you had that, you might want to save it to see if there's a Darksaber or something coming. Looks like there is a red 3 in space.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, the Anakin is facing a lot of damage this turn if they don't do something. Or for a Razor Crest, very good card, but does not help stabilize the ground arena. So Anakin is going to eat a lot of damage this turn.
Yep. But it does have Restore, and it does trade into red 3 well.
Yeah. Looks like Sabine has 12 more damage on board for this round. And Anakin claims, I would imagine. Yeah, yep. that red 3 really pumping in the damage this turn.
But at a certain point with Anakin, if you take a lot of damage but don't die, you're actually fine because your Anakin becomes
massive. Oh, absolutely. It can help race for sure. So the question is, is Sabine getting enough damage on?
Ooh.
Yeah, the Medal Ceremony. I would say Sabine is pretty far ahead right now. They have the Saboteur, the Medal Ceremony, the red 3. It looks like Anakin scoops it up. It's too much damage before he could even deploy.
Yeah, because Anakin wasn't even gonna be able to deploy that round.
Yeah. Yeah, so Sabine really showing that Sabine's still around.
If he hadn't used that ECL, I think he would have been in a much worse position.
Absolutely.
Credit to our Sabine player.
Yeah, because Sabine unit can trade up really well with this Anakin deck. So using it early to kill that, especially when you have that much damage on board, really shows. Yeah, the versatility of ECL. Anakin has to constantly worry about is there going to be a Poe coming, but also how do I even get a ground unit to stay around. And then yeah, we don't have exact lists for this because the Anakin deck has a lot of versatility in what removal cards you run, what exact ground packages you have. So not sure what they could bring in here. Could be more sentinels for the ground, just more ground units in general. Could be an extra copy or two of takedown to help deal with the ground arena. They may have extra copies of
Vigilance,
something like
potentially.
Kanan Jarrus. What was that? Sorry.
It could be potentially vigilance.
That'd be an interesting one. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played it with vigilance too much in my versions. It's obviously always any deck running blue can look at running vigilance. It's an incredibly strong card. I've seen some versions of the deck play the forces with me, which wouldn't have done anything in that game, but the potential shield and trading up is an interesting concept. I don't think I would keep it in for this matchup. Yeah, Timothy Chapman in chat just expressing how quick Sabine can be, and yeah, it's when Sabine gets their draws to line up correctly, like we saw there, it's just so fast. You just have to have the right answers at the right time, and we saw the Anakin deck basically just going all space except for a turn 2 Sabine unit that got answered by ECL, and that's just not fast enough. Right, and we got some well, not necessarily player names, but player usernames. We have Foremost on Anakin and Lights Out on Sabine. Make sure to try to give the players a shout out when we actually when we actually know their names. It can be hard to tie names together to list with the way Melee is formatted right now. Okay, turn 1 Sabine unit from Anakin, much better than playing it on turn 2. Should be able to trade into whatever Sabine's trying to do here on turn 1 if it's in the ground arena. Could make Sabine contemplate using ECL on turn 1. Looks like that is what they're going to do.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Worked so well last game.
Yeah. It's one of the downsides of Sabine unit. It's really good at trading up, but it really gets a lot worse into things like the Battlefield Marine, or even you could ECL a Sabine unit into Sabine unit. The ping is very versatile, but obviously does have its downsides, as we just saw. Village Protector is very good here with ECL gone and Battlefield Marine having 2 damage on him. Really good stabilizing tool based on what we see now. Sabine taking a long time to figure out their turn 2 play. I'm curious what the options are running through their head right now.
Yeah. Village Practice is just a great answer here. I wonder if Sabine might have a wing leader here, which would put the Marine outside of range of being killed by the protectors.
Yeah, it would make it a trade over 2 turns as opposed to just killing the Marine for the shield. It's always possible. Sabine made something like a greedy keep where all they have is something like a fleet lieutenant Okay, Fighters for Freedom.
That's a solid one. Gets around
Yeah,
the
the fact
protectors.
that it has Saboteur, it can just kill the village protectors and take the shield with the on attack trigger. So we're really putting a
Yep.
lot more pressure. But since Anakin has initiative, if they don't pop the shield now, village protectors can just kill Fighters for Freedom using the Anakin ability. So the fact that Anakin has initiative here still seems like he's in a much better spot than he was last game.
Yeah. Going to crash that Marine into the protectors, not going for the fighters play there. And we are
Well,
going to see
with Anakin having
use the
initiative, I think I like that
great
because
fighters.
Anakin is going to be able to kill the fighters anyway with the first action.
Yeah.
So I think I like just getting that out of the way. If you don't have anything in your hand to stop that from happening next turn, you might as well just do it now if they've already claimed, and save yourself an action next turn. And then Anakin does use the play of using his Anakin ability, so taking 2 extra damage on his base, but letting the village protectors trade up into the Fighters for Freedom. So Sabine not getting any use off of the when played for red cards or off of the Saboteur. And this is a turn where I could see a lot of complicated lines for Sabine. You're on your deploy turn. There are a lot of options. Playing out a Bright Hope. This is a much less aggressive start from Sabine than what we saw last game.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say that it's fairly far. Oh, wow. Well, never mind. I was going to say Anakin is fairly far ahead, but then he has no ways to use his 4 resources. So that's
merits, yeah.
Did we see a past claim? Is because Sabine didn't deploy either.
Yeah, it's possible he was holding like a takedown, and
Yeah.
The Sabine player is playing around that.
Yeah, what I'm guessing happened is Sabine played the Bright Hope, Anakin passed, and Sabine claimed to not run into the takedown.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of the Anakin's hand. I saw a Green Squadron A-wing, but couldn't see everything. So it looks like that there is a takedown in there in hand. It could be a perilous position. I just saw the border of the blue card.
All right, and there's an A-wing.
Yeah, and now it would make a lot of sense if Anakin also has a perilous position into hand. The A-wing doesn't die to the Bright Hope, and the perilous position can still tap the Sabine down on deploy.
Jabba ruled with fear. I intend to rule with respect.
Due to base, interesting. So not worried about the A-wing.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine. I don't think you have to be worried about it.
Already.
Yeah. The only real punish for that is if it's something like Red 3 and then the A-wing can kill the Bright Hope in one attack. But if that happens, then you're not developing your ground arena. You're not doing anything to stop the Sabine flip. So there is the Red 3. Yeah, so now with Anakin ability, this Green Squadron A-wing attacks the unit for 6. So the A-wing can clear the Bright Hope next turn. That also means taking 2 extra damage to your base. You have no ground arena, so a lot of it's going to depend on what Sabine does with their 5 resources here. A claim from Anakin. So I think the thing Anakin player wants to see least here is something like a Poe, because that would immediately threaten Anakin on flip, and you'd have to do something to protect him.
Yep. Where are we seeing Sabine's gonna go to base?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to me that makes it more likely that it's a Poe. Okay, but it's not.
Oh, Wing Leader on the Bright Hope is really big. Yeah, so now the A-wing can no longer kill the Bright Hope and dies from the attack as well.
No second follow-up there, just the Wing Leader.
Yeah, and it really, to me, really heads up play by the Sabine player. Obviously, I think every Sabine player wants to wing leader their Sabine leader and just go to town with that. But heads up play, realizing that his Bright Hope is in danger and that they need to protect it with the wing leader.
Yeah.
So it does look like Anakin's gonna get to flip here, without threat of being killed on the spot. But there's a lot of there's still a lot of damage getting threatened by the Sabine player. Anakin can't clearly get any units going in space. Oh, perilous position. This is huge. So now Bright Hope is in danger again from this A-wing attack. So yeah, huge perilous position from the Anakin player. Well, we'll have to see if Sabine has something like another wing leader or anything to help save this Bright Hope. Because now we're a perilous position, giving -2/-2. Bright Hope's back to the pre-wing leader state, so it's a 2/6 again, and this A-wing can still attack into it 4/6. And then also just saving the 4 damage on your base this turn because Bright Hope doesn't get to attack in for 4. So really big perilous position to have. Sabine player taking a lot of time. I think the lines at this point are very tricky for Sabine. They've got to have something. I feel like at this current board state, Sabine is looking very far behind. Obviously, we know this deck can change very fast from being behind to winning the game. So we'll have to see what they have in store. Rebel, what do you think Sabine is looking for to try to kind of potentially get out of this situation they're in?
I think maybe like Timely Poe would be okay. Wing leader here is interesting.
Yeah, so they're up to the second wing leader, so now they're back to their Bright Hope not dying. So that was, yeah, that was huge for them to basically get out from under the perilous position.
Yeah. Anakin still could trade both of his ships for the Bright Hope, but that hurts.
It does hurt, but the other thing is since the Bright Hope is tapped and nothing on board can kill the red 3, you could still deploy Anakin and get the red 3 buff on that attack first. Another thing Anakin could do is not throw the red 3 in and hope they get another perilous position to, at this point, would kill the Bright Hope for next turn. But then you're running a dangerous game of who has initiative and how that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Moy pointing out that the space arena is going ham. That is very accurate. It's interesting to see multiple wing leaders with Sabine leader out. Oh, is that a confiscate? Oh, wow. So that's huge.
This Bright Hope just keeps getting bigger.
This Bright Hope is beastly. So now Bright Hope has 4 health left, and the red 3 doesn't kill it.
All right, Anakin flipping while on 13, not waiting to get to 15 here.
Yeah, but I think that's fair because
right now.
Then Sabine's next action is going to be attack base most likely. So yeah, so now Anakin attacks for 8. 3 open resources, so we could still see a Jedi lightsaber. With Sabine dead, we could now see a bravado.
Just
Sabine only up to 6 on base.
Yeah.
It should have been 3 overwhelm.
No, it's 2. He gains 1 for every 5 damage, and he's 4.
Yeah, but there's also the red 3.
7 attack. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the red 3.
Oh, I think that was a claim from Anakin. So nothing to spend his last 3 resources on. Anakin has been in a really good position, but multiple turns has not been able to use the resources effectively. So I think Sabine may be turning a corner with that second wing leader into confiscate here. We'll see if they can answer Anakin. Wrecker does kill Anakin now, so that's probably the cleanest answer they could have. Because now they're in the spot where takedown.
Takedown to finally kill this bright.
Finally killed a bright. That Bright Hope saw a lot of action this game. It's been a very busy Bright Hope. It's been looking through their resources. This has been a very back and forth game. Very interesting to watch. Obviously, Sabine wants a Wrecker here.
I think that might be it. Yep.
Yeah. Defeating their readied resource, but if you don't have anything to spend it on, it doesn't really matter. And then now, I would imagine Anakin's just trying to do some cleanup, knowing that this Wrecker poses a serious damage threat. We'll have to see. I mentioned takedown before. Anakin is at 20, not 10. Just for those watching home, didn't move the 10 style. But yeah, this is where more takedowns would be huge. And Rivals Fall
is hard to deal with here.
Yeah.
Rivals
more perilous positions. Anakin has initiative, but yeah, they've got to find an answer for this Wrecker. And yeah, just another note that the Anakin base is at 20. Yep, they fixed it. So yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So that is why we're talking about the imminent danger, because Lethal is on board right now. Obviously, Anakin has the first action and can take out the wing leader, but currently Lethal damage on board between 9 damage of units and Sabine ping. So Anakin has to do something. Luke only to -3 the Wrecker. Interesting.
If Sabine is a Forakas here, that's going to compensate for the lost damage.
Absolutely. So I would imagine if Sabine has a Forakas, you just get in this wing leader attack while you can. Yeah. Force throw could be live now, but would be unlikely to kill the Wrecker. 5 to base with the fleet lieutenant, so that's huge. There is a force throw. Force throwing himself to kill the Wrecker. Okay, force throwing the perilous position to kill the Wrecker. I like that a lot. Making sure it actually dies. You don't get metal ceremonied or something like that.
K2.
Ooh, K2SO. Man, this Sabine player is just keeping on the pressure. Now Anakin wants to kill the wing leader in space, but you also really need to get in that restore 3 hit. So you just can't afford to take an action to kill the wing leader.
25, so little breathing room left.
Yeah, and if you kill the K2 with Luke attack, that just negates the restore 3 basically.
Yep.
So I'm curious if he's going to Luke into the fleet lieutenant instead, but then you just still have K2 posing a threat out there. It's K2 was a really good card to have for Sabine. Obi-Wan. Okay,
Obi-Wan,
so this is huge.
That's big.
Very big. Now you get the freedom to take an action to take out this wing leader potentially if they don't attack with it now. You get to not worry about K2 hitting your base. You're gonna get to draw a card. Yeah, this Obi-Wan was huge. Let's see what the answer is from Sabine. Another fleet lieutenant. Okay, so Obi-Wan dies, but you're still okay with that as the Anakin player, because now you get to still kill this fleet lieutenant without it attacking. You get the restore 3 in. They're still in a spot where after the attack with this wing leader, they're probably not going to be able to kill it this turn. Oh, another Sentinel.
Okay.
I think they wanted to play that.
But that's
they're not on board though, so maybe could have Luke attacked first. Slight missequencing there at
Luke
the end.
If Luke attacked first, that would have saved him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was in a rough position anyway.